Hey everybody, Jim here with another video for you. This is Shocktober 2025, episode 4. But before I begin, at the end of this episode, if you like what you see, please consider giving me a possible thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, please leave comments below. Let me know how you feel about my series so far. Let me know about your feelings towards the films that I'm going to highlight. So as I said, today is episode 4, and it's Saturday as I film this, October 4th. And later on this afternoon will be the next live episode of Shooting the Shit with Jim. My very special guest will be Matt from Pugwall 316 Studios. That will be at 1 p.m. Central Time right here on Jim's movie channel. I hope you can join us for that. We're going to be talking lots of horror on that episode. And today, since it's Saturday, I figured I'm going to go with slasher films. So this is going to be Slasher Saturday. And there's lots of different categories of slasher films, but I'm going to go with one that a lot of people don't really think about, and that is Canadian slasher films. In the mid-70s to early 80s, Canada was trying to get their film production. Montreal was trying to be the next Hollywood. Ironically enough, it later became Vancouver, but regardless. So the Canadian government was offering massive, massive tax shelters for companies in order to make films. And a lot of films were made during that period. Some of them good, some of them bad, some of them are absolute classics. But there was a lot of horror films in that group. David Cronenberg actually got his start making films in that. And a lot of those films were also slasher films. Now, this one is not one of the three I'm going to recommend, but I wanted to bring this one up. Black Christmas from Bob Clark. This is not one of the recommendations, but this is one of the first slasher films ever, if not the first. A lot of people argue whether it's Peeping Tom, Psycho, or this one, but this definitely predated Halloween by about 3 or 4 years. And like I said, it's directed by Bob Clark, who has one of the strangest filmographies ever. This is the same guy who directed Porky's, A Christmas Story, Rhinestone, Turk 182, and a bunch of other movies. I mean, yeah, talk about a true journeyman. But Black Christmas, like I said, it's definitely one of the first slasher films ever, and it was definitely one of the first Canadian slasher films. And the success of this is what got that program started rolling in the first place. This is a slasher movie that I usually watch around Christmas time. So that's why this isn't part of the three that I'm going to be talking about. But like I said, I wanted to make sure that I brought attention to this for multiple reasons of how important it is, not only in horror movies in general, but in the Canadian film boom in particular. So there's your little history lesson for today. Now, let's get on with the 3 recommendations for today. All 3 are Canadian slasher films. All 3 of them were released in 1981. And I saw all 3 of them at the drive-in. So let's go. The first one is The Burning. This is the first film produced by the Weinsteins, but don't hold it against it. This movie's a classic. It has a classic cast too, okay? We're talking very, very early roles from Holly Hunter, Fisher Stevens, Jason Alexander, Brian Becker, who was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and Lee Aries, who was in Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter. Really solid cast in this movie. And the villain is named Cropsey. There he is right there. He was burned up with a prank gone wrong, comes back to this camp and starts slaughtering all the kids and counselors, and his weapon of choice are garden shears. There's a lot of downtime in this movie, a lot of running around, but there's one scene in particular that has to do with a raft and about 10 kids, and it is an all-time classic featuring incredible, incredible effects work from Tom Savini. So the first Canadian slasher that I'm going to be recommending today is The Burning. Next, now this one is more of a giallo film than a typical slasher, but it's really cool. And I'm talking about Happy Birthday to Me, starring Glenn Ford, Melissa Sue Anderson, and again, a bunch of younger actors in early roles like Matt Craven. There he is right there. This is a really good movie. Directed by J. Lee Thompson, who directed a lot of films with Charles Bronson. But like I said, this one is more of a giallo than a typical slasher. And the hook on this movie, like I said, it's right there in the tag. 6 of the most bizarre murders you will ever see. And that's more or less what the hook of the movie is. There's also a brain surgery scene that is really disturbing. Again, a lot of downtime in this movie. One of the scariest things in this is Glenn Ford with his open collar shirt, like kind of hitting on Melissa Sue Anderson in a way. But I don't care. I really enjoy this movie for what it is. And like I said, the bizarre murders thing is true. This one isn't your typical slasher movie. The murders are all different and they're all really cool. But we're going to end it on this one. This might be the greatest Canadian slasher of them all. And I'm talking about My Bloody Valentine. This is my Scream Factory Steelbook. I absolutely love this film. This particular edition does have 2 versions. Here's some of the special features if you want to pause and look at it. But again, 2 different versions of the film. This one is directed by George McCullough. And again, great film. This was considered a Halloween ripoff at the time, because this is about the time that all the holidays were starting to get slasher films because of the success of Halloween. But again, this one stands head and shoulders above the rest. It's just extremely well done. The effects are good. The story's good. The acting is actually pretty good. This movie got a remake about 25 years later, okay, in 3D, My Bloody Valentine 3D. And believe it or not, that's one of the better remakes. I'll take that one over the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, over the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, over a lot of them. It's a lot of fun. And in 3D, there's one particular scene in that movie that is very memorable. But regardless, like I said, this is the cream of the crop as far as I'm concerned when it comes to Canadian slasher films. So if you've never seen My Bloody Valentine from 1981, by all means, get out there and watch this really, really cool movie. And that's going to do it for this episode of Shocktober. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, leave those comments below. Let me know how you feel about these picks. Let me know about some of your favorite Canadian slasher films that I didn't talk about. I will be back in a couple of hours, like I said, on the live stream with Matt. I hope you can join us there. And I will be back tomorrow with another edition of Shocktober. Hope to catch you on the next one, everybody.